It is July the 8th. Do you know where your children are? Hey, what's happening, everybody? Another great episode of It Came From GenX. I am Keith Porter alongside co-host Michael. Cut my finger off, Skinner. It's getting old, I know. And then Brian, Mr. Sound Effects Fisher. What's going on, Fish?
You see it on video. See that? Skinner could almost do that for real.
Leave my man alone.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure his wife or his kids are going to get you for that.
Yep.
This is me.
How you doing, Skinner?
I'm all right. Good days, bad days. Trying to recover from this injury. It's getting frustrated watching everybody do everything for me. As you guys know, that being a military man, being a father, if I don't do it, it don't get done kind of mentality. And
Yes.
it's being done, and I have to sit and watch, and it's very frustrating. But my son-in-law, the kids coming over, they've been godsends. Nothing short of spectacular, doing work around the house, things for Marcy to try to ease the load, because that poor woman, what I've put her through. But all good. I'm here, looking for a good time and a good show today.
Well, you got a good woman, you got good kiss hits, and you're the kind of guy like me. You just want to get stuff done, do it yourself, and relying on others is uncomfortable. So we're going to do our best to get through this show so that you can get some rest. But we got some fun stuff to talk about. I like what I heard in the pre-show, and we're going to start off with me today. But before we do that, Fish, tell them where they can find us.
Absolutely. So you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up that site and stream us live. Well, not live. It's a recording of this episode, but live on the air, if you will. You can listen to us whenever you want to on your favorite podcast platforms. Pull us up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Give us a subscribe to your platform of choice, and our episodes will pop up in your feed for you automatically. And if you are listening to us, it'll just pop up for you magically. That's right. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, that's right. It's like witchcraft. So go back and listen to last week if you need to know what that reference. Keith thinks Madonna's a witch. Go back and listen to that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And give us, like I said, give us a like and a rating if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts. Helps others find the show. YouTube channel, It Came From GenX, all one word. We post the videos of the episodes up there for you. All show information on our Facebook page at It Came From GenX. All links to the shows are there and some other fun stuff. Find us on Twitter, It Came From GenX, and Instagram, It Came From _GenX, and TikTok, It Came From GenX 330. Email the show, It Came From GenX 330 at gmail.com. And you probably, like many people, like, I don't understand everything you just said. Too fast. We're Gen X. We're too old to catch everything. Go to our Linktree account, LINK tree. Just Google Linktree, It Came From GenX, and our Linktree profile will come up for you. Nothing to log into, nothing to register, just a platform with links to all the platforms I just mentioned to you: Facebook, YouTube, podcast platforms, and more. Linktree, It Came From GenX. And if you like our stuff, give us a share, tell your friends. We appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Now, Fish, Getter told us how he's been doing. How was your weekend, man?
Weekend was very nice. Long holiday weekend. I was off on Mondays to recognize the Independence Day. So great time. We had great weather. Allie and I went to the Rubber Ducks game on Friday. Beautiful night for a baseball game. Fireworks. Saturday we had a nice fire here after a nice cookout with Mom. Saw her parents on Monday. Other friends on Sunday. So just a great relaxing weekend. We did a little sit-in, drive-in movie, Allie and I, on Sunday.
Oh, that'd be
watched
fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We watched Rocky IV, Rocky versus Drago on Independence Day, and Stripes. Absolutely. And after watching Stripes, that's right. Did not realize after watching Stripes it was released recently 40 years ago.
Stop it.
In 1981, Bill Murray, Stripes. Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
Wow,
and
that's
Rocky
the facts,
IV, by the way. Absolutely. Rocky IV, director's cut, Sylvester Stallone, will be released in theaters in November. So looking forward to checking that out. Absolutely.
I'll be on that.
So,
okay, great.
Yep.
Cool. I had a relaxing weekend. Bought a new grill and spent 3 hours putting it together, but it was worth it.
Let's see it. You smile for us?
No, not that kind of grill. Sorry.
Oh,
I forgot what
like
year
a cookout
it is.
Grill.
Barbecue grill. So did a lot of cooking on
fixing that grill take a lot of money.
Yeah. What was this? The 4th was on Sunday. Yeah, I did a lot of grilling on Sunday, and it was pretty cool. We had a nice, relaxing evening. It sounded like a war zone around here. Fireworks went up to 4 a.m. Just ridiculous. Driving me crazy.
That's frustrating.
Idiots were letting them out in the middle of the street. Cars couldn't get through. I mean, just total stupidity. But it was very relaxing, and the week's been good too. So I got my laptop back. For those of you who do not know about my electronic debacle, I lost my flat screen, my laptop, and my desktop screen in the same week. And it feels good to be back in the saddle. Got my laptop today, better than ever. Got a new hard drive, got a new flat screen, and of course you can see behind me my nice new long wide monitor. So I am rocking and rolling, baby.
Very good.
All right, let's get the show on the road. How about some music and sports keys? Oh, sure, that sounds great. All right, I'll go then. Okay.
There you go. That's how Keith
guys,
normally
so we're
does
up
podcasts.
for the Olympics.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about that. Some awesome people this year. Of course, it's all about Simone Biles. And Simone is actually getting known for a quote that she said. A famous quote, what's now famous. She was asked about some of the more dangerous moves that she does, which she's not required to do on her level, and they're not paying her to do them. And someone asked her, "Why do you still do them?" And her response was, "Because I can." Spoken like a true player. So I'm really digging her attitude. So starting off with sports today, ESPN had an interesting article about famous one-liners in sports. And we know when you're into sports, that's a huge part of it. You know, we like the smack talkers, the trash talkers, the one-liners that become part of pop culture, really. A lot of people walking around repeating stuff, and they don't even know the origin of what they're repeating, you know. My mom says a lot of stuff that she's heard for so many years, and she don't even know what she's saying half the time. And sometimes she says it wrong. Like she says, "That's off the change." It's like, it's not change, Mom. It's chain. But she cracks me up with that stuff. Don't tell her I said that. Oh, my God. I hope she don't hear the show. But anyway. So there was a great article about famous one-liners. And I borrowed some from the article, and I kind of wrote down some of mine. And I just wanted to reflect back as Gen Xers. Do we remember these lines? Some of them were before our time. But when you heard them, how did it make you feel? Do you reflect back on them? Or what? So I labeled most of them because I felt like this line made this person sound stupid. This person said something funny. This one's iconic, so on and so on. And I want to get you guys' opinion on it. The first line, because we're in Northeast Ohio, a line we will never, ever forget. Every sports fan had their TV on when we heard Akron's own LeBron James say, "I am taking my talents to South Beach." I labeled this one as wow, because I think most people were like, "Oh, he's staying. Why would he do a big production and show if it wasn't for the fans to celebrate. So I think this one caught everybody off guard. Skinner, do you remember this line? What was your reaction when you heard it?
I was lucky not to have anything near me to throw at the television, truthfully.
Wow.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I remember like it was yesterday when it happened, and yeah, I was pretty perturbed at him as an Akron kid growing up myself. I thought his pride and his sense of loyalty to his hometown would have been more predominant than
Mm-hmm.
the almighty dollar. But obviously, as history unfolded, he came back, did what he did, got the ring, and then left again. And the second time wasn't as harsh, but yeah, I remember like it was yesterday, and I was pretty angry at the time. So
Let me ask you a question. If he hadn't come back and won that championship, do you think he would still be beloved in Northeast Ohio? Or would he be up there with Art Modell?
As a what's the word I'm looking for?
Philanthropist.
There you go. As one of those, as a kid from Northeast Ohio, yes. As a basketball player, no, he's an Art
Good way to
Modell.
put it.
Mm-hmm.
Good way to put it. Fish, how about you?
I remember it was at the Magic City bowling lanes, and we had a bowling league night, and then we all crowded in a little bowling alley bar and watched it on television, and we were all shocked. I'm with you. It's like, why would you? He definitely got some bad advice from somebody at that point, and oh boy, what a debacle that was! And instantly he was, the jerseys burning. I mean, some people took it to a way extreme level, but yeah, when he turned back around and wrote that beautiful letter to announce he was coming home, and that quote, "I'm coming home," that right there was instant forgiveness for many in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, he had to.
Yeah, and then certainly the incredible run, and they actually, without injury, very possible the Cavs could have been a repeat champion there over Golden State. But certainly that. Yeah, go ahead.
The first series or first run with Golden State.
Yeah, I think too many people out.
If it wasn't the injuries, the Cavs would have won that, and Golden State would have never been empowered like they became, and it would have changed everything.
Yeah, because that was before they had Garnett, right? And then and we had Kevin Love was out. And
you mean Durant?
I said Durant. I said Garnett. Okay. I meant Durant. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, he definitely made up for it. But yeah, that was definitely a shocking moment. That clip instantly made all the Cleveland sports highlights with the drive and the fumble and the catch and all that crap. Yeah. Anyways.
So not only what he did was bad, but the way he said it ticked me off. I'm taking my talents to South Beach. It's sort of so arrogant. And that annoyed me the most. But, everybody had their opinion about it. But someone summed it up best. I can't remember who said this. But they said, it's okay to break up with your girlfriend. Just don't go on Jerry Springer to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
that's
great.
right.
Okay.
Good point.
So moving on. Ali, a little bit before our time, but one of the great quotes. I've heard this quote regurgitated in different ways, but he said to one of his upcoming opponents, can't remember which one, if you even dream about beating me, you better wake up and apologize. Have you heard that one, Fish?
I haven't heard that one. Ali definitely had tons of memorable quotes, but I haven't heard that one there. He was maybe the original king of quotes, wasn't he?
Without question.
One of them, anyways. Him and maybe Yogi Berra or somebody, but Ali was definitely way, way up there as far as king of quotes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Skinner?
I've not heard that one. The one I recall vividly is, fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Float like a butterfly.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Sting
My bad.
like a bee.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all right.
Okay.
That's all right.
But that's an interesting quote that he had.
Yeah, I labeled that one as funny. The next one I label as just heartbreaking. And that was from the late, great Lou Gehrig, who they named his disease, Lou Gehrig's disease. I believe the correct technical name is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. But in his farewell speech, for him to have the courage to say, I consider myself the luckiest man in the world. Man, every time I hear that, it's just like, wow. To stand there and say that, I can't imagine how much that empowered so many people who were dealing with tough illnesses. Do you recall that line at all, Skinner?
Oh, absolutely. That was such a humbling, grounding statement for anybody, no matter what age you were at the time, to sit and listen to this man say those words. Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Awesome. Yeah. Fish?
Yeah, that video is pretty. It's something to see. It's out. You
Yes,
can
it
find
is.
it out there, of course. And it was very silent at Yankee Stadium, and the echoes. I mean, he was very cued into what he was saying. So yeah, very, very powerful indeed.
Yeah. If you call yourself a sports fan and you haven't seen that, you better check yourself. Okay, this next one I just call iconic. This isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but the great Herm Edwards, former coach, then ESPN analyst, now back to coaching, Arizona State, I believe.
Yep.
You play to win the game.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
Great quote. Fish, you remember that one, of course.
Absolutely, and they use that on a lot of different shows and all of that. Yeah, it's like if someone questioned his play calling or something like that. It's just like, yeah, that's just yeah. It's so simple but so powerful. Yeah,
it's very powerful. And to really tie this in to a Gen X millennial point of view, all this play to participation trophies, he reminded us why we play.
That's
and
right.
I think that quote should be repeated more and more and more again. America is great because of competition. We decided we were going to be first in industry, first in medical advancements, first to reach the moon, first to do all these things. And now we want to talk about, it's all about participation. Stop it. You know, you don't have to make people who aren't quote unquote winners feel bad, but that doesn't mean we stop competing. We play to win the game. Skidder?
Oh, you play to win a game. Who said coming in second was better than coming in first?
I don't know.
Who thinks that out there at the end of the day? Oh, I want this little red ribbon for playing dodgeball, and I took fifth place. Or, that started so young, and for anybody to listen to that now, it's you play the game to win, not to lose. Damn it.
Yeah, James Harrison, former Steelers linebacker. I got mixed views about him now because he went to New England, but I got so much respect for this guy. Not only was he one of my favorite Steelers, but when his sons brought home participation trophies, and they didn't even do well in football, he made them take them back. And I just thought that was the most awesome lesson right there. And we need more of that, in my view. All right. This one I label as just stupid. And I'll tell you why. This was not too long ago. Marshawn Lynch, former retired Seattle Seahawks running back. He did come back and play a stint with the Raiders. I'm just here so I don't get fined. And, of course, that's a reference to him refusing to do interviews. And the NFL stepped in and said, hey, this is part of the collective bargaining agreement. You got to do interviews. And, of course, he showed up at interview day at the Super Bowl, refusing to answer any questions and just kept repeating the phrase, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Now, personally, the reason why I label this as stupid, because I'm so tired of these people. When they first start off, you can't get their face out of a camera. They'll take any publicity they can get. They want to be known. They want to be all this. And then when they finally reach superstar status, I don't want to talk. I don't want to interview. And they do dumb stuff like this. Then, of course, when his career was over and all that money wasn't coming in, now you can't stop seeing him on TV, commercials, game shows. But I thought you didn't want to be in front of a camera. Real stupid and hypocritical. Fish, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it just comes, if you're a pro athlete, it just comes with the territory. You got to you may not love it. You got to pay your dues and show respect to the press, answer questions. Just definitely shows some arrogance there in my opinion. So yeah, not a good look.
Agreed. Skinner?
Rich, spoiled punk.
You just labeled it. And of course, we see this not only in sports, but even in Hollywood. When they're starting off, you're an unknown actor or actress. You're trying to get your picture everywhere. Then all of a sudden, you're famous. All right, stop. Whatever. Okay, moving on real quick. This one I label as ignorant, not ignorant, ignorant.
Ignorant.
The famous Allen Iverson. Practice. We talk about practice, not a game. Practice. Of course, this was referring to the run-in he had with his head coach. I believe it was Larry Brown at the time, but he was scolded for missing a lot of practice. And he felt like, what's the big deal? As long as I show up for the game or whatever. Totally set a bad example for everybody else. Anymore, I know is what you do in practice is what you're going to do in the game. I understand he was an exceptional athlete. There were those few that have come in our time. I remember football players saying the famous Hall of Famer Rod Woodson was the only player they know that could not even practice all week and give a Super Bowl performance on Sunday. But those are rare. And even if you have that ability, it's about the rest of the team. I thought this was a really ignorant statement, and I think he regrets it too. What do you think, Skinner?
I remember when he said that, and I thought the same term comes to mind: rich, spoiled punk. He thought he was above the game, and that's what his demise was.
And what about the message he sent to young people?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Fish?
Yeah, you think about all the great NBA players of our lifetime, Bird, Magic, Dr. J, even you could say Kobe, Michael Jordan.
Yes.
These are all guys that they are known. Their work ethic was definitely known. They practiced hard. They set the tone for their teammates, and they were champions. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you need to say beyond that.
That sums it up. All those guys known for showing up early, taking hundreds, if not thousands of shots to practice over, doing the same thing, So glad you mentioned Kobe. He's my number 7 on the list. And I labeled this one as reflective. And, of course, the famous line, Mamba out, and drop the mic. And no one, other than this, was it The Simpsons? Not The Simpsons, but one of the cartoons foreshadowed his death in a helicopter. I think that shook the entire world. His popularity was more than any of us could even imagine. But we'll always remember Mamba out and his goodbye speech. Something I can't even watch today because it tears me up a little bit. Fish?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely an iconic athlete of our time. I mean, he, I don't know what else to say, really. He always talked about how hard he worked, even though he was gifted athletically, and he worked so hard, and again, like I said, just definitely set the tone on championship teams and a role model in many respects. Obviously, he had a slip up in his personal life or whatever, but he got past that, and he was definitely one of our most iconic athletes that we'll ever see. It was personal. That's right.
He didn't cheat the game.
Right.
Or anything like that. That was between him, his wife, and God. Skinner, do you think his popularity wouldn't have been so huge at the end if it we didn't see him as this amazing father on screen.
No, I think that was part of the package, truthfully. We all know what he did on the court. We know what he did off the court in practice with his teammates, and we all heard all the phrases that came out, But I think being a family man and being remorseful for what he did on his personal life, his character came into question, his morals came into question, in that one slip up in Denver, Colorado, that one night. But I think he came back, showed remorse, and showed what being a family man, being a father, and truthfully being a husband, what it was like. That was all part of his package, and I think that's all was part of it.
Okay. All right, number 8 real quick. I label this one as arrogant. Fisher might not like this, but this is just one player. I love him as a player, can't stand him as a person, and that is Neon Dion himself, or as he likes to say, prime time. But his famous line, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. Fish, we'll start with you.
Hey, it's 100% accurate, right? He was, but
Oh yeah,
he was kind of,
can't argue
he
with
was
it.
definitely, he was a flashy player, flashy quotes, but he had the talent to back it up. That's a thing that a lot of guys don't have. So,
Right.
yeah,
Good
not
point.
as many balls thrown his way as a lot of other corners out there in his Hall of Fame career. So, yeah. I don't know if he took himself too seriously, frankly, but yeah, definitely a fun player to watch.
Real serious. Skinner.
See with Dion, it's not what he said; it was how he said it. Because what he said was spot on. It's just how he said it and how it came across. That was typical Dion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can talk about him for a while, but I'll let that one go. This one takes me back. This was a quote by Oklahoma State football head coach Mike Gundy in reference to a news article that came out about one of his young players. And I know this guy wishes he could take this one back because he's been ridiculed for it. But he was basically saying how, telling this reporter, this is basically a child. And you want to come after somebody, come after me. But he said it in the funniest way. He goes, come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. And I can remember being on the University of Akron sports team. That was the quote throughout the office. Hey, mess with me. I'm a man. I'm 40. Things of that nature. Why wish he could walk? He wishes he could walk that line back because I'm sure it didn't come out the way he wanted it to. You remember this line, Skinner?
I don't actually. I don't remember.
Oh, you got to look that video up.
I'll have
Mike
to,
Gundy.
because that sounds
I'm a
pretty
man. I'm
freaking
40.
funny.
Yeah, you'll crack up, dude. How about you, Fish?
I don't remember that one either, but that's a good one. Yep. I don't know that I felt like a man until I was 50 personally, but yeah.
I'm still waiting to feel like one. Okay, number 10. Another classic line. May he rest in peace. But the great coach Denny Green, in reference to the Chicago Bears during their Super Bowl run. And he goes, they are who we thought they are.
4 picks against Grossman and 2 fumbles. What do you see about the Bears? Would shut them down that way?
No, we just the Bears are what we thought they were. They're what we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes a third game in a preseason like it's bull? We played them in the third game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Thanks, Coach. Matt Leinart will be the only other person in this room, probably about 5.
Just a classic line. Skinner, we start with you on this one.
Man, you stole my line for later on if we were going to have to come up with one. That quote I'll never forget till the day I die. That was such a great quote.
He was smoking.
He was, and it was the context for which it came out is what makes it even more impressive to me.
Fish.
That was a good one. That's definitely of all the quotes from NFL coaches throughout the years, definitely one of the most memorable. Absolutely, yeah. He was a character.
Okay. And my last bonus one, I thought this just took such character. This man is known for being true to his character, and that was the great former linebacker, Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer Mike Singletary during his run as coach as the San Francisco 49ers. He benched, I think he was a rookie, or at least in his first or second year, tight end, Vernon Jordan. And of course, Vernon went on to be a great player. And he totally looks back on this and thanks Coach Singletary for this. But he got a personal foul, cost him the game. And Singletary went over to him and told him, don't even sit on the bench. You'd be better off serving us in the shower. And of course, the interview after that was iconic when he said, I want players. I don't want players that put themselves above the teams. Can't coach them. Can't play with them. Can't win with them. And that was one of my favorite moments in coaching. You guys remember that line, Skinner?
Oh, I remember Mike Singletary, and I remember that particular situation. Absolutely. He didn't play around. He knew what it took to win a game. He knew what it took to lose a game, and he wasn't about to have the latter. So
that man still invokes fear in people. I've seen some Hard Knocks episodes where he visited the team and everybody just straightened up because Singletary was there.
Oh, yeah.
Fish?
Yeah, just people, I don't know, maybe he might have been maybe after his time. I don't know. Maybe people were not ready for that type of old school
They were not.
coach.
Good point.
So maybe, you put him back years ago as a head coach, he probably has a lot more success, or maybe even in the future to where, people can handle that sort of thing. And kind of, you mentioned the participation trophy type kids or whatever it is. So yeah, they weren't ready to hear that stuff. They want, they want to be treated with respect. And it's, no, you're here to win. You're a professional athlete. You're here to win. Anyways, so
you make an interesting point. And part of the problem with a coach like that is the owners they have to deal with, because the owners don't care. They're like, I paid all this money for the star. I want him on the field. The coach is trying to protect the team and make a point, but the owners are just like, whatever. So kudos to him for that. You guys got any? I stole Skinner's. So you guys got any more that you can think of?
Well, just just real quick, time permit. I use this quote. Even I didn't realize he said it. Yogi Berra has tons. You could look him up, and there's tons of quotes in it. It ain't over till it's over. I didn't realize he said that. That's used in all kinds of sports, and I think I've used that in my personal life many times. And one of my funniest too is from an NFL coach was the Jim Mora interview. Coach Mora, but this when someone asked him about the playoffs or something like that, he just had a total meltdown. Like he was flabbergasted that somebody was actually bringing it up.
On there.
Look up that clip on YouTube if you've not seen it out there. If you're our age, you probably know exactly what we're talking about.
That's Jim one Mora, of the great ones.
Playoffs.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
It's fabulous.
And that one, and former GM of the Indianapolis Colts, when they got ridiculed, they got throttled by Mel does all the drafts.
Mel Kiper or whatever.
Kiper. And the line, who the hell is Mel Kiper Jr.? Love that one. Yeah. Great stuff. Okay.
And they'll coach at Tampa Bay in the 70s, by the way, too. You can look at. I don't. Is that I? What he has a ton.
I think it was Bob Mackey when he said, we couldn't run the ball, we couldn't throw the ball, we couldn't catch the ball, we couldn't play defense, we couldn't play special teams. Other than that, we were in pretty good shape.
Something like that. Yeah, just tons of quotes from that guy back then.
Yeah, he was great.
Anyways,
he was great. Yeah. All right, Skinner, give us some world news, buddy.
All right. I got two stories to talk about this evening, and one of them will have a Gen X spin to it. Sad to report that the Haitian president Avenel Moise,
Mhm.
was assassinated at his private residence last evening against a group of unidentified people. It seemed to be 6 gunmen, from what I read from the story, but the details are very sketchy. His wife was hurt as well, but she is hanging on there. She's at the hospital in critical condition, but they thought she would recover. So first of all, to his family, friends, co-workers, to his countries, our condolences from the show. I want to put that out first. So
Yes.
when I was reading this story, and I'll get back in the next couple of days and find out more of what happened when we get some more details. I got to thinking, we've had our run-in with some assassination attempts or assassinations in our as early as our adult life, as well as when we were kids.
Mhm.
I want to go back further. This is even before all of us were born. In 1963, November 22nd. Do you remember what happened on that day? John F.
John
Kennedy
F. Kennedy.
assassinated
Yes.
in that convertible there in
In
Dallas
Texas.
in Texas. Yep, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh,
So
right.
all the conspiracy theories and all the stories and all the people trying to say he didn't do it, that this was 2 people, and what is your guys' thought about all that nonsense outside of what actually happened? Go ahead, Porter.
Well, I know there's some crazy conspiracy theories out there, but I like going with just the facts. Um, I don't believe he did it. Simple logistics, the magic bullet theory. It just makes all the sense in the world. Uh, I'm sure there's things I don't know. Trajectory could have been changed, while it hit certain things, but that alone convinces me. The second thing is the rifle that he had. It just, when you look at the rifle that he had and you talk to guys who were in arms, it wasn't even possible from where he was. Also, all the different hush hush facts about the people who were pulled off of security, all the interviews that never made it into record, and all these different things. I do believe it was a black flag operation. Um, so many things that he had implemented and it got changed immediately after his death. We're not going into Vietnam. Boom. Now we're in Vietnam. Lyndon B. Johnson did that before the ink was wet on the president paper. Bill Helicopter has so much to lose because of Kennedy. They were involved in so much stuff. So you had the military, the mob, and the CIA, and his own staff hating this guy. So I think it was an inside job for sure. I really believe that. Fish?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I don't. It just a lot of things didn't seem like Oswald could have pulled that off as a one shooter. So, yeah, don't know really what happened. A lot of different theories, of course, but I think we just still don't know the whole story yet.
Right. Told to have the
If we
top
ever will.
down when it's supposed to be up.
Yep.
All sorts of things. And if you guys want some really interesting stuff, if you haven't already read the coincidences between the Lincoln assassination and the Kennedy, have you guys seen that stuff?
Yeah,
I've seen some of that stuff.
Fascinating.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So let's fast forward 18 years to March 30th, 1981.
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan was attempted assassination by John Hinckley Jr. Do you remember seeing that on the news? Because, of course, back then we had to wait 3 hours till it was
No,
4 or 5 hours till it was
it
the
was on
6 o'clock
Facebook
news.
instantly.
I remember them wheeling the television into the grade school classroom when he got shot. So sitting there in class, and the teacher wheeled in the TV on the stand and all that, so we could sit there and watch what was going on for a few minutes back in the day. So
that was huge for us. Kind of like the Challenger blowing up. The Ronald Reagan attempted assassination was right there with it. Porter, what do you remember from that?
This is really sad to talk about. I haven't heard too many people talk about this, and I'm going to share it for those of you who don't know. As a black man, as a black child back then, it was very embarrassing all throughout the country because of misinformation given about Ronald Reagan and the perception of him by black people, especially young black people. The saddest thing was when that assassination attempt happened, there was cheering throughout the halls of black elementary schools.
Wow.
It blew the adults away. It was really sad. I couldn't believe it personally. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But that's what was going on. That's what I remember the most. Cheering about a man being shot, hoping he was dead. Pretty sad.
It speaks volumes too, unfortunately.
I could go in deeper of why.
Right. Yeah. No, that's for another show, another topic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I put in here on my list Saddam Hussein. He wasn't assassinated, but he was hung by his peers back in December 30th of 06. Of course, we know the Gulf War. There's the Gulf War I and Gulf War II for Saddam Hussein, and there's a lot of theories about that one too. Did he have the weapons of mass destruction? Did he not? Was he the dictator that everybody said he was? Well, me as a military guy, yeah, he was a dictator. I think he did a lot of bad. I think he got justice served to him. A public lynching like it happened. That's old school, but that's how they do it over there. And who's to say that that's wrong? And then, of course, moving forward to May 2nd, 2011. Definitely assassination by Navy SEAL Team 6 and Mr. Bin Laden, who had been on the run for 10 years. Me personally, I didn't remember that it took 10 years to find this guy.
I know.
It was amazing that it took that long from September 11th, 2001 to May 2nd, 2011. So almost 10 years, for them to find this guy and to serve justice the way it was done.
Didn't seem like 10 years.
No, it doesn't. And, they called it Operation Neptune Spear. I was fascinated with how they name missions, and I'm wondering what that one.
Too.
Didn't have a chance to look that up as to why they named it that, but I'm gonna look that up, and we'll have to, if that comes up in a later episode, I'll have to have that ready for you guys.
Might be a good topic too.
But I thought that was an interesting name for. Basically, it was an assassination.
Yeah.
And it was for good.
Start off with Saddam Hussein. The three things about that is, number one, he was certainly a bad and evil man. His sons were
despicable.
Kusei, whatever their names were. They were just as bad, if not worse. The hypocrisy of the fact that we're the ones that put him in power. I don't know if people know that. We put Saddam Hussein in power. We helped kill the former president, put him in power, and basically just said, hey, do whatever you want. Just don't drop chemical weapons on the Kurds. And, of course, he went and did that and ticked off Bush. But here's the thing that gets me. For months, we talked about going in and finding weapons of mass destruction. And the whole time this was going on, I'm thinking, this dude's got all this time to hide this stuff. Of course they didn't find anything. You talked about it on the news for months. But we also talked about we're on our way for months too when the war started. And the best idea you had was, I'm going to hide in this hole. A man that's got access to billions, could have had his face changed, could have been in any country, but he was found in the hole. Doesn't make sense to me. That's what I remember. And far as Bin Laden, I remember watching wrestling and John Cena making that announcement and the cheers that roared throughout the place. I was like, wow, this reminds me of the whole Reagan thing. Where, hey, we killed somebody. Good old USA.
Pretty big stuff there. What do you got,
Yeah.
Fish? You even
I
want
got
to
no more to
follow
add in that. Nope. I remember seeing the President Obama come on and make that announcement. That was like, wow, that was pretty intense. I remember pausing and seeing that here at home when that came on, and that was pretty powerful announcement from him. So
I also remember thinking, wow, what a feather in
yeah.
Obama's cap happening on his watch.
Yeah, that was something. So yeah, I got no more to add in that.
Yep, I got you. Okay, on to a little bit easier subject and a feel-good story. A Mr. Ray Gowlett. He's a high school teacher in Ontario, Canada. This past year, with 2020 or first half of 2021, we all know what's been going on all across the globe with COVID-19, social distancing, people staying home. You know who was really affected by all this, and we really, I know me personally, it didn't click until graduation time, and it was kids.
Yeah.
These kids happen to be at home trying to study, doing things that they're not trained to do. These kids from kindergarten at 5 years old are trained to go to school every day, sit in a classroom in front of a teacher, study, go home, do homework, this, that, and another. But they're expected to concentrate, sit in front of a computer, and listen to a teacher talk for 45 minutes, and then you don't see him again for another 24 hours. So with that being said, Mr. Gowlett had a great idea, and what he did is he built a stage. Because in Canada, they did not go to graduations this past year in 2021, unlike what U.S., they eased the restrictions just in time for all that to happen. So he built a stage on a trailer and drove to each graduate's home and had a private graduation ceremony for each graduating senior. I have nothing but the utmost admiration and respect for this Mr. Gowlett, and kudos to him, and there needs to be more people like this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, you heard so many positive stories about, the teachers really with the student. It's such a tough time for our beloved teachers out there to go through the pandemic as well, to have to completely adjust their lesson plans and everything else, and you hear a few stories like that. So yeah, definitely high respect to try to give those kids something special. And you know what, and he wasn't looking for any personal accolades. I'm sure he was 1,000% just trying to do something nice for those students. And I'm sure he will never be forgotten in their lives, and maybe they're motivated as well to do something to pay back at some point in their lives as well by what he did for them. So great story.
Yeah. Skinner, you're right. The impact that the COVID, the quarantine, and the after effects had on our kids is unbelievable. I'm interested to know how many seniors it was, because that's a heck of a thing to do. But the one thing I just want to say, not only did he think about the kids, but he thought about the families who that might have been the only kid that they would have got to see graduate and were robbed of that. So very thoughtful.
That's a great point. Absolutely great point. That's what I got, fellas.
Awesome. How about some pop culture there, Fish?
All right. Okay, so main story I had tonight was we had an iconic. We're always talking about again every week. That's just where we are in life. There's some well-known person from our childhood or otherwise has passed on.
Yeah, you just got to make it a feature now, man.
Yeah, that's just with the age of where we are, of course. And so Richard Donner, director, 91 years of age, passed away last Monday. And if you don't know who he was, you definitely know a lot of his most popular films. Certainly, if you are our age and probably much younger, his first directorial movie debut. First of all, his TV, it's too numerous to even go into. He directed tons and tons of television episodes way back in his early career, including, the Banana Splits. He did a couple of those Danger Island episodes and
Great
stuff like
stuff.
that, which, I know I definitely watched as a kid on
So did I.
reruns and everything, and tons of 70s shows. I won't even rattle those off, but he had a lot of experience there. 1976, his first movie, The Omen. To this day, makes my top 5 horror movies of all time. Great movie, great cast, and just terrific. So if you've never seen the original Omen, if you're a horror movie fan, not a lot of gore at all. It's just suspense, shooting angles, storyline.
Music,
That's what that
effect.
movie is.
It's
Music,
definitely on my top
absolutely.
5 movies that I'll never
Facial
watch
expression.
again.
Yeah, very creepy. Great movie. Go back and check it out if you've not seen it. If you're a horror movie fan, and you will appreciate it for sure. Holds up very well. 1978, Superman with Christopher Reeve
Classic.
and Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. Terrific movie, and we mentioned Ned Beatty, who passed away recently as well, was in that movie too.
Yes.
Yeah, you think about that movie. I mean, as a kid, I remember just seeing Christopher Reeve on screen as Superman flying, and just it was pretty daggone powerful. And you
Capture
think
your
about that
imagination.
movie. Yeah, who was a better cast than Superman than Christopher Reeve back then? And and you think about that, if Superman would have completely bombed out, you wonder if the comic book movies in general may have fizzled, maybe for quite a long time. Who knows? But definitely a great way to set the tone. Storyline, but certainly it wasn't the director's fault as far as the screenplay. Great directed movie. He also did Superman 2, but didn't quite finish it. I don't know the circumstances where he didn't finish it, but you can go back and see the Donner cut way before the Zack Snyder JLA movie.
Okay.
You can rent the Donner cut of Superman 2. The Goonies, super popular film in the 80s. Most of us have seen that movie, certainly. And Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, super popular movies. And he also did Scrooged with Bill Murray in 88. Definitely a very interesting take on the Christmas Carol, amongst other movies as well. So definitely very popular films in our lifetime. So Skinner, any of those movies amongst your favorites? What do you think of Richard Donner? Any thoughts?
Oh, I think he was one of the most underrated, far as trophies and hardware directors of all time. The Omen, like you said, if you haven't seen it, you've got to see it. If you're a horror fanatic and you haven't seen it, then you're really not a horror movie fanatic. The Goonies, that's our childhood. Superman, like you said, what would have happened if Superman bombed? Would Marvel be here today doing what they're doing? Would DC be doing what they've done? All these movies that we absolutely are in all over as adults could be a very different situation now. But yeah, excellent director, very underrated, and rest in peace. He'll be missed.
Yeah.
Keith,
Um,
any thoughts on Richard Donner or
Sure,
any
he
of
was
those
the
movies?
kind of director that really did the kind of movies people wanted to watch. Might not have been, award winners or things like that, but just movies people love to watch over and over again. I mean, how many times have we seen Lethal Weapon or The Goonies or things like that? I did see The Omen when I was younger. Of course, I don't watch those kind of movies now, but I guess because of the effect that it had, it was well done as far as horror movies are concerned. Like you said, he did need special effects and gore, just the combination of timing and music and cinematography scared the crap out of you. So, yeah, we lost a good one. He did some classic movies from our childhood, the Banana Splits and all that stuff. Man, nobody did stuff like that. I think Hanna-Barbera and Sid Marty Krofft took off from what he did. You know, uh, with Dr. Shrinker, Electro Woman, and Dinah Girl, and that stuff. But I think he was the first.
Yeah, you think about it. If any body of work, any of us, you'd like to be, you'd like something you did to make an impact on people positively and something to be remembered. And certainly, his films will have done that and will continue to do that. Certainly well into the future. Okay, and one more. We heard one of our bigger popular culture icons in our lifetime, Bill Cosby, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, we grew up watching the Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids on Saturday mornings. I know I sure did. That was one of my favorite cartoons growing up as a kid. I mean, he was on the
Absolutely.
Electric Company and all these kids shows, and obviously the Cosby Show, iconic 80s show, and then to wind up being found guilty of sexual misconduct and everything, put in jail. Pretty disgracing for him. But recently, he was released from prison. Which, if I read the news article correctly, it was it wasn't that he was found innocent. It was a kind of a legal technicality
Mm-hmm.
in a testimony made in a civil suit that was not supposed to be used in his prosecution trial, and it was used. And somebody came back and said no, because of that, the trial is reversed. So the judgment was reversed. Excuse me. So he was released from prison, and his TV wife at the time on the Cosby Show, Phylicia Rashad, tweeted out that finally an injustice has been corrected or something to that effect, and she works for Howard. I think it's Howard University that I don't know if she works for or something to that extent. Anyways, she was very much ridiculed in not being sensitive to the victims by many people, and she had to backpedal her statement and kind of correct herself. And certainly she's not saying this because of she's insensitive, trying to be insensitive to the victims and all of this. But anyhow, so just a lot of backpedaling and everything else here. So a couple big things, obviously. Him being released, number one, and number two, Phylicia Rashad in making statements that she had to go back and walk back and correct. So any thoughts on any of this, Keith?
Well, as far as his conviction, I say what I've been saying all along. None of us really knows what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little suspect because you got all these people all of a sudden, and I don't want to hear the argument, oh, I was afraid or whatever. If that was today and somebody as big as Bill Cosby, I could see that. But back then, a black man, please. He'd have got 100 years, easy. No matter, he wasn't a superstar back then. He was just rising up. So I just a little suspect about that. The other thing is, I'm so tired of people walking back statements with benign comments. She wasn't thinking about hurting any alleged victims. She's talking about her personal relationship or how she feels about him. And even if it did offend them, really? Are you sitting somewhere and you hear that and, oh my God, stop it. This world is ridiculous, man. I don't care if somebody called the victims filthy liars. What happened to words? Sticks and stones can break my bones. I mean, I know words are powerful, but come on, are victims sitting around really crying because she said that over something that allegedly happened 30 years ago or whatever? That's just stupid. I lose respect for people who walk back their comments, man. I just wish somebody would say, that's what I said. It had nothing to do with them, and you don't like it, don't listen to it. Sick of it.
Skinner, any thoughts?
I know we're up against it. My thoughts are the same as Porter. If they offended somebody, it's like if you see something on Facebook you don't like, just keep on going.
Keep
She
going.
didn't say anything to the point that she was directly calling out a victim or an alleged victim. She was showing support for her husband, her TV husband, her friend, her confidant. I don't, I lose respect for her for backtracking more than I do for her saying what she said. So, that's what I got.
Okay. Well, a comment that our listeners will not be offended by is that we are out of time for this particular episode. So,
don't forget, Fish.
Go.
Black Widow.
Yes, that's right. Black Widow releases on the 9th, I believe, this next week. Oh, tomorrow. That's right. So you can see it in the theater and on streaming. You have to pay extra on Disney Plus. I don't know what the rental fee is, but yeah, we'll come back and talk about that, I am sure. And then we'll also come back and recap Loki, which is very, very good, and then heating up and fantastic stuff there too. And then we'll get another stuff next week that we just don't have time for. So, for Keith Porter, Mike Skinner, I'm Brian Fisher. Thank you for tuning in to It Came From GenX. You can find us on Linktree. It Came From GenX. Find all information there. Thanks for your support, and listen again for new episodes next week. GenX.
Take care, everybody.
See you next week, folks.
Now.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.